School staff, district and school-based leaders, Board of Education members, town officials, and virtual guests. Welcome to the first day of the 2021 school year and our very first virtual convocation. This is definitely not how I imagined I would be kicking off my first full year as your superintendent, but I plan to make the best of this exciting opportunity. Before we begin our program, I want to take a moment to extend my deepest gratitude to everyone within the Windham Public Schools organization and within the town of Windham itself, who has helped to support our students, families, and employees as we have worked to keep the district flying since our unexpected school closures in March of 2020. It has truly been a team effort, and your contributions and support have not gone unnoticed, so thank you. This goodwill and sense of camaraderie has certainly helped to give us the lift we need to begin this school year, one that we are very excited about, but fully recognize will be challenging.
May I have your attention, please? This is the final boarding call for passenger Lynn Ide, booked on Frogbridge Airlines Flight 2021. Please proceed to Gate 3 immediately. I repeat, this is the final boarding call for passenger Lynn Ide. Thank you.
I would now like to introduce our first speaker in today's program, Ms. Lynn Ide, our Board of Education Chair.
Here we are convening in the time of COVID. It's hard to feel like we are getting a fresh start to a new school year when we are all struggling with the surreal nature of our world right now. This pandemic luck that we are in makes me think of a quote from a spoof of the book The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. I have looked into the future, and it is much like the present, only longer. When will this end? We are all living with collective and cumulative stress. We all have different levels of tolerance for uncertainty. How is this all going to play out? The answer is no one knows. But here are a few things that I do know. Everyone is doing their best. No one has ill intent. We do struggle with limited resources. We have dedicated teachers and staff who can work magic in our schools. We have students thirsting to connect who are counting on all of us. We must be nimble, creative, and collaborative. On behalf of the Board of Education, I want to thank you for everything that you do to make it work, and for the love and learning that you impart to our students. You are so very much appreciated. Here's to you all and the year ahead.
At this time, could our key staff members report to the gate?
Vicky Karaganis, the Director of Windham Early Childhood Programs. And I just want to thank my staff at both Early Head Start and at the preschool for the incredible job they did during our unexpected COVID closure. Staff were amazing in that they really came together and came up with creative solutions to dealing with what seemed like an impossible situation. The other thing that really stood out was the incredible relationships that were created with families. Staff, we've always prided ourselves on the fact that we had a good rapport with our families, but during COVID that was amped up several notches, and I appreciate all the effort that went into that. Thank you, WECC.
When I was asked to talk about North Windham School and thinking about what happened from March until June, it was really actually easy for me to talk about my amazing North Windham School staff. The word that came to mind for me was grit. And the reason that that came to mind is that each one of those letters in the word grit represented my staff. G for go-getters. March 13 came and we were told we couldn't go back to school. And sure enough, that next week, they did what they needed to do. They were go-getters. They found resources, helped each other. R, obviously, is resilience. How could we not be resilient during this time? They did what they needed to do. They were determined, And so without that, we wouldn't have made it until the end of the school year. I is for incredible. Think about the Disney characters, right? The Incredibles. When I think of my staff, outside of the little red outfits that they, I'm sure, would love to wear at our school, they had to wear those masks, right? And so I thought about that. But then also, each one of them, all through that time frame, also had these hero capes. And so we were these distance learning heroes. And so it was a really difficult thing to do, but they made it. And so when I think about superheroes, I think about I for Incredibles. The last thing is T for tenacity. You know, without that, again, we wouldn't have made it. They just really continued to do their very best, and they didn't give up. It's the Wyndham way. And so, and also for our school, it's the North Wyndham way. We don't give up on our kids, we don't give up on our staff, and we don't give up on each other. I thank all of my staff deeply for all of the work that they did from March through June. And without you, our students wouldn't have made it. Thank you very much.
Okay, hello and welcome. We are your WFEP Executive Board. We'd like to introduce ourselves as well as give some information about this school year coming up. My name is Kathy Q. Davis. I am your union president. I've been working within Wyndham District since 2012. And currently, I am a reading tutor over at Barrows.
Hi, my name is Kathy Lank and I'm your Vice President. I work at Sweeney School. I am a proud Wyndham High School graduate along with my dad, my 4 daughters. I currently have 4 grandchildren that are going through the Wyndham Public Schools.
Hi, my name is Ellie Garvey. I'm your treasurer and currently working at Barrows. My 2 children attend Wyndham Public Schools. My husband and I are very involved in our community. We wanted to welcome you back.
Hi, my name is Lisa Gilio. I am a behavioral tutor at Barrows STEM Academy. I have been in the district since 2010. We are excited to welcome all of our WFEP staff back to this very interesting upcoming 2020-2021 school year.
Please talk to your union steward if you need to sign your membership card, as well as to receive your membership folders. Members who are up to date by September 4th will be receiving a swag bag courtesy of AFT Local 4832, as well as some of the local businesses in town.
And that swag bag distribution will be happening during the week of September 8th. It's important that you speak with your union steward today. Make sure that you have all the current up-to-date information as well as a signed membership card. And now, do you know who your school steward is? I'd like to introduce them. We have Melody at Wyndham High School, Tina at Wyndham Middle School, as well as Haiti at Barrows and Diane at Sweeney. There's Pam and Jessica representing Natchog. And we also have Andrea at Wyndham Center School and Johanna at Wyndham Early Childhood Center. We'd also like to welcome back North Wyndham staff. And if you are a staff member there, be sure to say hello to these smiling faces. Thanks so much to Lizmari, Joma, and Dave for welcoming everybody there.
Working together is what we're all about, union strong. Please join us on October 14th for an all members meeting via Zoom. Look for your invite link around September 1st.
All right. Thanks so much for your time, everybody. Let's make it a great year.
Have a spectacular year.
Hey Wyndham, Evan Jones here, principal of Natchog School, and I've been asking myself, how did we at Natchog get through such a tough, unprecedented time? And I would have to say it was a real team effort. You know, starting with everyone, including the FRC, who is still conducting virtual play groups and supporting families, our family liaison, who is out every day in the community, checking on families, and of course, our teachers, who really embraced all of the roles of teacher, learner, and leader to stretch themselves, because sometimes they were leading, sometimes they were learning, and sometimes they were teaching. And I also have to include all of my non-certified staff who made sure they wanted to be part of the effort and got involved to reach out to families, whether it was on the phone or whether they were participating in Zoom meetings. And then, of course, my specialist teachers who were creating virtual art shows and virtual field days, and our tech teacher, Stacy Barretts. I've got to give you an extra special shout, because you are always available to support staff with Google training. You helped create our virtual parade, our virtual teacher parade. You created Who's the Baby, all kinds of fun things. TikTok-like things, of course, not TikTok, but TikTok-like things for our kids. And you were just always there to support your colleagues. So I gotta say thanks to everybody, and couldn't have done it without you.
Hi, so it's great to be welcoming all the Sweeney School staff back to school. When I reflect on the learning from home in the spring, one of the things that I was most struck by was the degree of collaboration that left from Sweeney School and traveled into everyone's homes. The wonderful relationships you were able to form with parents, some parents that you didn't have much contact with before, several of you got more contact with, and I just think that the whole experience just showed me your creativity and your dedication to our students. And I'm so excited that we're coming back in person. Can't wait to see you all.
Hello, and welcome back from the Wyndham Administrative Support Personnel, your secretaries, administrative assistants, specialists, bookkeepers, and accountants. I'm Joanne Grez, the president of the union. While we all left quickly last March, it was amazing to see how supportive and helpful everyone was to our students, their families, and staff, especially during the virtual learning months and beyond. A big thank you to everyone for all your hard work as we adjust to our current reality. We are so lucky to work in such a supportive team that perseveres through many challenges. As we begin this very different school year, please know that we are all in this together, and as a team, we are stronger than ever. Wishing everyone a healthy and safe school year. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to one of the executive board members. Thank you.
I don't know how I got to stand outside Wyndham High School, and it is August now, and we're getting ready to come back for our official reopening. It seems like time has gone by fast, and it's amazing that we're here. But like I always say at Wyndham Center School, if we want it to happen, it will happen. And we made it from March to looking forward to our reopening in September, which I'm very excited about. The hallways at Wyndham Center aren't the same without my teachers and without my students. So I'm looking forward to seeing all you guys again. But I want to be sure that I let you know how much I appreciate everything that you've done to get us to this point. You guys are amazing. You know, jumping onto the computers and learning how to do Google Classroom so quickly for our students, caring for them. A special shout out to my family liaison, Teresa, who went to everybody's house when they needed food, when they needed a computer, when they needed overall support. And of course, to all of the teachers and staff who put in that extra time. And I know you guys didn't work the school hours. I know you worked way beyond that. I was on your Zoom meetings at 6:30. I was there when you were reading books or wearing costumes or doing whatever it took to keep kids engaged. So I just want to thank you for all of that. And I'm looking forward to seeing you guys again. Thanks for everything, as always.
What's one thing that went well during COVID last year? I can think of two things. Number one, the support amongst our staff, peers helping peers. We had a lot of people that were excellent with technology and others that definitely needed some support, and from within we were able to help each other. That was a great thing. And the second thing was the adaptability and flexibility of the Barrow staff. For instance, after those first couple of weeks, recognizing what was working well, what wasn't working well, making those adjustments to get the students the best education they could in a difficult time.
Good morning, teachers, support staff, administrators, Dr. Youngberg, Board of Education members, and any other guests who may be joining us remotely today. Hopefully, no hackers. My name is Cami Nyland Poirier, and I am honored to be the next president of the Windham Federation of Teachers. Because I'll be watching this taped address along with all of you, I'll be brief. First, I'd like to introduce the other members of the WFT Executive Board. We have worked together now for several years, and obviously, if we were in person, I would be asking them to stand to be recognized. So maybe they can stand or give a wave if they're with any new staff members today at their schools. Randall Prose from Windham High School is our new first vice president. Most of you know that Randall has been our union president for the better part of the last 9 years. He has helped us weather many storms, and for that, I'm sure our members would join me in saying thank you. He has also agreed to help me as I transition into my new role as union president, so I hope he keeps his phone close by. Kathy Colgan from Windham High School is our WFT secretary, and Lindsay Heppel from Windham High School is our treasurer. Both Kathy and Lindsay have worked tirelessly to ensure that our voices have been heard as we prepare to reopen during a pandemic. Our 4 vice presidents include Carolina Mendez-Korsinski from Barrows, Elizabeth Prose from Windham High School, Rose Reyes from Windham Center School, and Patty Roy from Windham Middle School. We would like to offer a collective thank you to the Windham Board of Education for listening to all sides and making the courageous decision to delay the opening of Windham schools in order to ensure a safer reopening for our students and staff. Dr. Youngberg and her team spent hours meeting with representatives from the different bargaining units of Windham Public Schools. She listened to concerns regarding health, safety, and instruction, and worked with us to make decisions that were in the best interest of our entire school community. I have been a teacher here in Windham since my student teaching days, decades ago, and all 4 of my children attended Windham Public Schools. I knew then, and I know now, that our school community cares about its students. I have learned to ask lots of questions and work with the team around me. As a new teacher, that was my grade level team over at Natchog School. They've long since retired, but they could answer the simple questions like, where can I find blank ditto masters? Yes, back in the old days, that's how we made our copies. They also helped with the complex questions. What can I use to instruct those students who are so far below grade level? And what about meeting the needs of the kids who are already reading at a high school level? Years later, as a veteran teacher, I found myself learning new things and new ways of doing things as I listened and learned from recent college graduates. Those new hires are definitely your go-to for tech-related questions. And right now, I'm sure we have plenty of those. Over the years, there were also times when I sought advice from my union. Our building stewards represent a large part of the WFT team. So if you're a new teacher, please take note of the following names. And stewards, please stand or give a wave wherever you are so that those new teachers know who you are. At the Windham Early Childhood Center, Antonia Finnegan and Nusi Halpin. At Barrows, Kim Lewis and Carolina Mendez-Korsinski. At Natchog School, Marianne Giovannini, Raquel Luna, and Suzanne Slater. At North Windham School, Dana Irons, Robin Christoph, and Sarah Rodriguez. At Sweeney School, Rebecca Martin. At Windham Center School, Rose Reyes. At Windham Middle School, Kathy Brillen, Liz Provencher, and Patty Roy. And at Windham High School, Lindsay Heppel, Kathleen Colgan, and Randall Prose. As the summer closes, I'm just finishing a novel by Lisa Wingate, and one line from the book keeps coming to my mind. We plan our days, but we don't control them. That feels more true now than ever. Since March, we seem to have lost control of our carefully planned days, weeks, and even our year. We've seen the cancellation of graduations, proms, weddings, and even simple backyard barbecues. But here we are, with a brand new school year ahead of us. So let's plan our days, the best that we can. And then, when things are out of our control and don't go quite as planned, let's reach out and connect to the people around us, ask questions, and support each other. We are all here because we care about the education and well-being of Windham students. We also have a chance to learn from one another along the way. Happy new school year. Thank you.
At Windham Middle School, starting in March 13th when we had the school closure, the staff was amazing. They rose to the occasion. Everyone from the paraprofessionals, tutors, custodial staff, nurses, teachers, admin, parents. We had hundreds of home visits to make sure our kids stayed connected. Staff went above and beyond and actually put PPE on and went out to students' homes to check in to make sure they were okay. We had teachers counseling and giving tutorials to each other about Google Classroom, about SEL learning, because we didn't know what Corona was. However, teachers were doing a lot of research and finding platforms to teach themselves and teach the kids about what we were going through so they could have authentic conversations. I know for me, my staff rocked. They actually probably didn't sleep even though we were home, but I just gotta say, I know I didn't do this alone. My staff at Windham Middle School, like I said, everyone, whether you have direct contact with a kid or you have an office space, our team rocked.
At Windham High School, we're so grateful to every member of our Windham High School family who made the end of the year special for our students, especially for our seniors. I think I can speak on behalf of all of them who were so excited by our Windham High School caravan, our senior car parade, and culminating in our graduation ceremony outside, where so many members of our staff were here to cheer them on. We're also grateful for how everyone stayed connected with our students, making phone calls at all hours of the day and night to their families, learning new technology so quickly, and also we put out all of these video messages to our students to stay connected. So thank you to all of our Windham High School family. Have a great year.
Good morning, Dr. Youngberg, Board of Ed members, administrators, teachers, and support staff. My name is Liz Baumgardner, and I am the proud principal of North Windham School and the president of WA, Windham's Administration Association. Every year, I'm usually asked to speak at Convocation, but this was the first year that I didn't have a choice between a video submission and an in-person speech. Wow, what I would have done to have that choice again. I read an interesting quote the other day in the professional learning book, The Distance Learning Playbook by Fisher, Frey, and Hattie. In this book, they wrote, the pandemic teaching of 2020 was not really distance learning, but rather crisis teaching. This statement struck me deeply as I remember having my last meeting in the library with my staff way back in March, saying, I'm not sure when we will be back. As days turned into weeks and weeks into months, school as we knew it was completely over. However, the constant was that teachers and staff had embraced a responsibility to impact learning, irrespective of the format of school, be that in person or virtual. I must take the time to acknowledge the heroic efforts of educators in Windham Public Schools, who during a pandemic used what they knew and collaborated with others to create meaningful opportunities for our Windham students. Now, I certainly don't want to simplify what took place from March until June, but rather use what we have learned to impact our future work. We need to think deeply about how our diverse student population's needs are going to be addressed to meet the following equity needs. Meeting our students' basic needs, that's where safety and health come to mind. Ensuring equitable access to learning resources, thinking about our SEL curriculum and our resources in this area, and proactively design responsive restorative structures so that our academic needs, students' needs are addressed. Remember that effective teaching is effective teaching no matter where it occurs. We are educators. We are Windham. We are educators that impact the lives of our students and make a positive difference in our community and for our future. This has certainly proven true even through an unprecedented pandemic. Continue to support and build each other up. We are in this together. Thank you, and I wish you all the very best for the upcoming school year.
Please direct your attention to Head Flight Attendant HR Director Stephanie Garrett with some important announcements.
Good morning to you all. I am Stephanie Garrett, Director of Human Resources, and I want to welcome all of you back to another productive school year. First of all, we would like to welcome our new staff members who are joining us today. Some of these people have served here before and are returning to Windham Schools. Others are familiar faces who have progressed to become teachers through our Relay program. And one new teacher, Zaida, was a Windham High School graduate, now returning to teach at Windham Middle School. We want to extend a warm welcome to all of them. Angelo Ruiz, Barrows STEM Academy. Kit Hastings Court, Natchalk School. Yurli Gonzalez, Natchalk School. And Alexis Kurtz, Natchalk. From North Windham School, we have Carly Palmer, Lori Copland, Jocelyn Acosta Torres, Elizabeth Angel, Tiffany Page. From WECC Middle School, we have Marissa Brody, Elizabeth Rivera Mendez, and Carly Richards. Sabrina Hosmer and Rebecca Quayle will be at Windham Center School. Bayard Faithful, Jeff Morey, Daniela De Sosa, Matthew Peeney will be from Windham High School, and then we also have a new interim assistant principal, Fatima Pearson, who will be at Windham High School. Haley Grabowski, Zayed Ibik, and Yolamar Cruz Padilla will be at Windham Middle School. I am sure you will all reach out and introduce yourself to these new employees and give them a warm welcome over the next few days. Windham Public Schools is fortunate to have many staff members who have made a long-time commitment to serving Windham students. This experience and institutional memory enriches our district, and all of our staff who have the privilege to work beside these professionals benefit from their contributions. Today, we want to honor some of these dedicated individuals who are making important milestones in their careers. Although 1980 may seem a long time ago, that is when the first individual came to work at Windham Schools, marking 40 years of service. Today, we would like to recognize Linda Miano Mello, teacher at Charles Barrows Academy. There are 3 individuals who are celebrating 35 years of service. Barbara Coriarty, a paraprofessional at Sweeney School, Amy Majak, a teacher at North Windham School, and Patricia McMahon, a teacher at Charles Barrows STEM Academy. For completing 30 years of service to the district, we would like to honor these individuals. Thomas Campo, a teacher at Windham High School, and Miriam Reynoso, a teacher at Windham Center. There are a number of staff members who are celebrating 25 years of employment at Windham Public Schools. Please join me in congratulating Mary Jackson in our Food Services Department, Rosa Caraballo, Administrative Assistant at Barrows STEM Academy, Jessica Buchanan, a teacher at Natchalk School, Christy Dudek, a teacher at Barrows STEM Academy, Michelle Dupuy, teacher and coach at Natchalk School, Amy Lovejoy, teacher at North Windham School, Yvette Cruz, Head Start at Windham Early Childhood Center at Windham High School, and Dawn Neumer, a paraprofessional at Wyndham Middle School. Please congratulate these longtime staff members when you see them. Again, we could not do what we do without our dedicated employees who have made the commitment. We are Wyndham. Now, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the crew, I ask that you please direct your attention to the monitors above as we celebrate our Teachers of the Year.
Good morning. When a school district's destination is first-class education, you'll never leave the gate without great teachers. This group of educational professionals, our 2020-2021 Teachers of the Year, come from different backgrounds and varied experiences. Although their classrooms may be very different, they are single-minded in their focus for our students. Representing Natchog School, Valle de Sousa, Grade 2 Dual Language Teacher Dos Rios program, serving Wyndham students for 20 years. Amy Lovejoy, North Wyndham School, Grade 3 classroom teacher and this year SEL interventionist, serving Wyndham students for 24 years. Amanda Arnold, Sweeney School, grades K-2 special education teacher, serving Wyndham students for 13 years. Danny Aponte, Wyndham Center School, grade 4 classroom teacher, serving Wyndham students for 5 years. Katie M. Duffy, Charles Barrow STEM Academy, grades 3 to 8 visual arts teacher, serving Wyndham students for 8 years. Janice Nye, Wyndham Middle School, grades 6 to 8 Spanish teacher, serving Wyndham students for 20 years. Kelly Folan, Wyndham High School, grade 9 through 12 special education teacher, serving Wyndham students for 21 years. We sincerely appreciate and respect the experience these valuable leaders bring to their teaching craft every day. Congratulations. Today, I am proud to introduce our 2020-2021 District Teacher of the Year, Kelly Folan. Kelly is herself a Wyndham Whippet through and through, graduating from Wyndham High School and living here in the community. Kelly is respected as being a team player, dedicated to Wyndham students through and through. She is keen on developing skills in her students that endure, ensuring students are not just successful in the classroom today, but into their future. As a veteran faculty member of 21 years and 6 years as team leader, she strives to work collaboratively with her special education team. In her application, Kelly said, "I feel that each person needs to feel heard and valued. I offer them professional advice as well as actionable items to make sure that we remain student-centered. It is important to me that everyone feels valued in my department. I believe that all students have the right to a solid education. All students are able to learn skills and concepts regardless of their disability. We as educators need to find ways to motivate students to learn concepts that they do not feel they are able to. Teachers need to utilize strategies to help students build the confidence they need to succeed." Well done, Kelly. We are proud to celebrate you today as our District Teacher of the Year. Congratulations, Kelly Folan.
Good morning, Wyndham Public Schools. I am Kelly Folan, District Teacher of the Year. Thank you, Dr. Youngberg, Mr. Weathers, Board of Education members, administration, colleagues, and honored guests. I would like to begin by thanking my parents for instilling in me my work ethic. I would also like to thank my family that has put up with my insanity for all these years, including just one more minute, I have to fix something on an IEP. They have been my biggest supporters. I would also like to give a special thanks to my husband Ken, my son Zach, and his girlfriend Shelby for having to listen to every word of every draft of my speech. I would also like to thank my friend Dara Bowling for having gone over this speech with me. I formally welcome you back from one colleague to another. This academic year will be like no other. We are going to face many obstacles and challenges. I emphasize to you that we all must be Wyndham strong, on the same vessel, taking the same journey. Our mission has not changed, no matter the circumstances. We are the Wyndham Public School team. We only have one opportunity for victory. That victory is to demonstrate our passion as educators and get our students to the highest academic success possible. The situation we find ourselves in may seem daunting and may take most of our energy, but remember, our energy will come from our students, our passion, and that will be the positive force that will get us to our goals. This school year brings excitement, new energy, uncertainty, and a chance to reinvent what it means to teach. We ended last year in a time no one would have imagined. Who knew that on March 13th would be the last time we entered the buildings until today? We learned many lessons from this pandemic. We learned that we could motivate students without being with them physically. We overcame obstacles that we never thought we would have to overcome. We learned Google Hangouts, Google Classroom, and many other platforms. We taught, encouraged, and supported students as well as families. We persevered and continued to reach out and teach our students. Most importantly, we encouraged and supported each other along the way. It was the encouragement and support that really ensured our success. Let me tell you about my earliest inspiration about becoming a teacher. It was from my mom, a teacher herself. She instilled in me an appreciation for helping others. She would often talk about her students and smile. I knew she made a difference in their lives. During my senior year at Windham High School, I had the opportunity to work with students with intellectual disabilities. It was there that I just knew that teaching was my passion. I worked with a boy named Randy who taught me many life lessons. It was seeing the joy on his face when he mastered a skill that made me most proud, knowing that I was able to help him achieve that goal. I also volunteered for adaptive aquatics, and again I was paired with Randy. Randy was always determined to get the gold medal at the Special Olympics. We practiced hard, and I was there when he won. I can still see the enormous grin on his face. It is a joy you feel when you help a student achieve their goals that gives you your spirit. When I discussed college plans with my parents, it was a natural fit for me to become a special ed teacher. Randy inspired my long teaching career. It was my passion then and continues to be my passion today. We all have a Randy in our lives to motivate us and help us to become better teachers, support staff, and administrators. My life is better for having known him. I know you guys all know what that feels like. Everyone here today is a vital part of the school district. We are all stakeholders to student success. We are all in this together, and we need to make sure that we have an impact on our students and their families. We may not even know what we have done that has made the impact until later, but always look for opportunities to make the difference, no matter how small we may think it is. It is the student that comes back later in life that says they remember what you did that makes this all worthwhile. I look back on teachers who have had a positive effect on me, and they all had one thing in common. They cared. We all had those teachers who had made us better people. Take a minute before the school year starts and reflect upon what that teacher did and how you can make that same difference. Working with students requires passion, commitment, and dedication. Every school year we stand before a new group of students and say, how do I bring them to where they need to be? This year will be no different. We may need to review or relearn concepts, but that's okay. We can do it. We are ready for the challenge. We are Windham. We'll always find ways to motivate, educate, inspire students to be lifelong learners. We are all in this together. We are La Familia. We'll also need to motivate and encourage each other along the way, and that's okay too. We need to be sure to pick each other up when times are bad. We will all have failures, and we need to use them as a foundation to build upon. We need to embrace all the good times and hold tight to them on the days when we cannot see the sun. When we leave every day, let's remember a positive thing that happened that day. Our mission is to help students learn and achieve. To do this, we need to ask the hard questions, advocate for our students. We need to try new things and collaborate with each other to ensure that our students build a solid education. We cannot do this alone, but each and every one of us needs to challenge ourselves to be and do the best we can every day for our students and for each other. We need to challenge our students to achieve at their highest levels. This school year will be an important one for all of us here, as well as students and families. We need to make sure that we give more positive reinforcement to others as well as ourselves in this trying time. Things will be different, but if we show the strength and determination to overcome the obstacles before us, then our students will feel safer and less apprehensive. It is our time to shine, and show everyone why we are Wyndham Strong. This year I challenge you to do the following. Find your Randy. Fire up the passion that brought you here. Remember how you felt on your first day of teaching. Let no obstacle, real or imagined, stand in your way. Make success happen for yourself, your school district, and most importantly, for your Randy. I would like to conclude my thoughts with a poem from an unknown artist. May our photocopiers never jam. May our Sharpies never dry out. May our faculty meetings all be short. And may we change the world, one student at a time. I wish you the best school year, and remember, we're all in this together.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are currently third in line for takeoff and are expected to be in the air approximately 7 minutes time. We ask that you please fasten your seatbelts at this time and secure all baggage underneath your seat or in the overhead compartments. We also ask that your seats and table trays are in the upright position for takeoff. Please turn off all personal electronic devices, including laptops and cell phones. There may be turbulence on our flight, but we aim to get you to our destination safely. Thank you for choosing Frog Bridge Airlines, and we hope you will enjoy your flight.
As the proud superintendent of the Wyndham Public Schools, most of you know that my favorite movie is The Wizard of Oz, and that I regularly refer to the metaphorical journey that the characters in the movie experience when I discuss my leadership philosophy. I truly believe we all have exactly what we need to succeed if we take the journey together and work to figure out who we are and what we have to offer. Today I would like to take you on a different kind of journey, using what I hope will be a delicate balance of lighthearted humor, entertainment, and a deep appreciation for the difficult work we are about to embark on. I'd like to give you a glimpse into what I believe needs to be our flight path for the 2021 school year, and remind you all that, like the characters in my favorite movie, it will be your heart, your brains, and your courage that gets us to our destination of providing a first-class education to all of the students of the Wyndham Public Schools. As we settle into our seats for Flight 2021, I thought we should start our journey with a playlist that will help prepare us for the upcoming school year, with songs that simultaneously symbolize all that we have experienced since our unexpected emergency landing on March 13, 2020. I desperately wanted to remain positive and figure out how I could use my love for The Wizard of Oz.
Follow the yellow brick road, follow the yellow brick road.
But realized quickly that even could not do justice to all that we have been through as a school system. We needed music that speaks to how we might be feeling right now.
You get a fast car, I want a ticket to anywhere.
But then the governor's travel ban continues to grow and new information literally comes in daily. And so I thought this song might be a little more appropriate. I then realized that even the crazy train would not get us to our destination fast enough. So I settled on Staying true to the airplane metaphor, here is a visual that shows the four forces of physics that allows flight to occur: thrust, drag, weight, and lift. You might be asking what these physics terms have to do with kicking off a school year or helping a school system to reach its destination. I'm going to focus primarily on our movement forward, or the term thrust. This is the energy needed to move an aircraft through the air and is necessary to overcome the drag of the plane. The second term that applies to flight is drag. As you can imagine from a metaphorical standpoint, drag can be compared to all of the obstacles we need to overcome to ensure the health and safety and emotional well-being of our students and staff and the academic achievement of our students. In any aircraft, thrust is provided by some kind of propulsion system. For the Wyndham Public Schools, you, our employees, are the propulsion system. Our employees represent the power of the organization. In simplified terms, if we all move in the same direction, we move closer to our destination. Whether you are responsible for educating our students, feeding them, cleaning and disinfecting their learning environments, ensuring district and school-based operations, providing specialized supports, advocating for our families, or holding any other role in our school system, you are helping to develop happy, healthy, and well-adjusted young people, and therefore are a valuable part of the momentum that this system needs to take off, to stay in the air, and to ultimately reach our destination. What is a first-class education? A first-class education, in my opinion, is one that focuses primarily on the overall development of the human beings within our classrooms and provides structures and environments that help them recognize their own gifts, talents, and potential. A first-class education truly sees our students and helps them to see themselves. A first-class education understands that the ultimate goal is for each of our students to function independently in a world that is and will continue to be ever-changing. It thrives on engagement, requires a sense of community, and leads its learners to ask for help when they need it and offer help when they can. It is grounded in a growth mindset and focuses on the destination and not necessarily the stops along the way. Having started teaching 28 years ago, I have watched the educational pendulum swing back and forth on so many important focus areas. Let's take literacy instruction, for example. When I began college in Massachusetts in 1987, literacy instruction was being taught through what was called the whole language approach. This approach focused on reading words as whole pieces of language, believing that children would draw from their perspective and prior experiences to form the framework for the new knowledge. Literacy instruction then shifted to a phonics approach, or one that had students breaking down written language into small and simple components, then piecing them back together to recognize the meaning of words. I know it won't surprise those of you who in the audience teach children to read, but the pendulum swings back and forth on something as important as literacy instruction because the scholars determine that one approach is not effective for all students. A first-class education recognizes that approaches and academic standards will change, societal norms will change, circumstances for individual communities will change, but the goal of making sure the little and not so little human beings in our schools are prepared to take care of themselves, academically, socially, emotionally, and physically, this goal will never change. While I, along with my co-pilot, Mr. Neil Weathers, will be guiding this aircraft or leading the school district, I want to motivate our employees in all departments and in all classrooms to showcase their talents. We need to work collaboratively to find solutions that will help our students gain the independent skills they will need to be successful once they leave us. Educational researcher John Hattie writes that among all classroom strategies, collective teacher efficacy, or the shared belief amongst the teaching staff that they indeed have the ability to positively impact student outcomes, collective teacher efficacy has the greatest impact. I will continually remind you that you are flying the plane in your own classrooms for your students. And while you are reflecting on your individual and collective power and wondering how this will all work amidst a pandemic and with a reduced staffing structure as a result of our continued budget struggles, I would like to draw your attention to an influential source of information.
I've done awesome! The mark of a true hero is humility. But yes, you have done awesome.
Your mind is like this water, my friend. When it is agitated, it becomes difficult to see. But if you allow it to settle, the answer becomes clear.
You gotta let go of that stuff from the past, because it just doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is what you choose to be now.
You're right.
Maybe I should just quit and go back to making noodles.
Quit, don't quit. Noodles, don't noodles. You are too concerned with what was and what will be. There's a saying, yesterday is history. Tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That is why it is called the present.
Inner peace. Inner peace. Would whoever is making that flapping sound quiet down?
I also want to assure you that my focus will be on increasing employee engagement and developing the kinds of trusting relationships that allow members of the organization to ask for help when they need it. I want you to feel confident enough to offer help to your colleagues when you are able to. Engagement, authenticity, and teamwork are all qualities that I want to see developed in our students. So these are the same qualities that need to be focused on for our staff. Understanding the impact that one person can have on another is a lesson I believe our students will need in order to fly.
How many of you are completely comfortable with calling yourselves a leader? See, I've asked that question all the way across the country, and everywhere I ask it, no matter where, there's always a huge portion of the audience that won't put up their hand. And I've come to realize that we have made leadership into something bigger than us. We made it into something beyond us. We made it about changing the world. And we've taken this title of leader and we treat it as if it's something that one day we're going to deserve. But to give it to ourselves right now means a level of arrogance or cockiness that we're not comfortable with. And I worry sometimes that we spend so much time celebrating amazing things that hardly anybody can do, that we've convinced ourselves that those are the only things we're celebrating. And we start to devalue the things that we can do every day. And we start to take moments where we truly are a leader, and we don't let ourselves take credit for it, and we don't let ourselves feel good about it. And I've been lucky enough over the last 10 years to work with some amazing people who have helped me redefine leadership in a way that I think has made me happier. And with my short time today, I just want to share with you the one story that is probably most responsible for that redefinition. I went to a school in a little school called Mount Allison University in Sackville, New Brunswick. And on my last day there, a girl came up to me and she said, "I remember the first time that I met you." And then she told me a story that happened 4 years earlier. She said, "On my day before I started university, I was in the hotel room with my mom and my dad, and I was so scared and so convinced that I couldn't do this, that I wasn't ready for university, that I just burst into tears. And my mom and my dad were amazing. They were like, 'Look, we know you're scared, but let's just go tomorrow. Let's go to the first day, and if at any point you feel as if you can't do this, that's fine. Just tell us, we will take you home. We love you no matter what.'" And she said, so I went the next day and I was standing in line getting ready for registration, and I looked around and I just knew I couldn't do it. I knew I wasn't ready. I knew I had to quit. And she says, I made that decision, and as soon as I made it, there was this incredible feeling of peace that came over me. And I turned to my mom and my dad to tell them that we needed to go home. And just at that moment, you came out of the Student Union building wearing the stupidest hat I have ever seen in my life. It was awesome. And you had a big sign promoting Shinorama, which is Students Fighting Cystic Fibrosis, a charity I've worked with for years. And you had a bucket full of lollipops. And you were walking along and you were handing the lollipops out to people in line and talking about Shinorama. And all of a sudden, you got to me and you just stopped and you stared. It was creepy. This girl right here knows exactly what I'm talking about. And then you looked at the guy next to me and you smiled and you reached in your bucket, you pulled out a lollipop and you held it out to him. And you said, you need to give a lollipop to the beautiful woman standing next to you. And she said, I have never seen anyone get more embarrassed faster in my life. He turned beet red and he wouldn't even look at me. He just kind of held the lollipop out like this. And I felt so bad for this dude that I took the lollipop. And as soon as I did, you got this incredibly severe look on your face and you looked at my mom and my dad and you said, look at that, look at that. First day away from home, and already she's taking candy from a stranger. And she said everybody lost it. 20 feet in every direction, everyone started to howl. And I know this is cheesy, and I don't know why I'm telling you this, but in that moment when everyone was laughing, I knew that I shouldn't quit. I knew that I was where I was supposed to be, and I knew that I was home. And I haven't spoken to you once in the 4 years since that day, but I heard that you were leaving. And I had to come up and tell you that you've been an incredibly important person in my life, and I'm gonna miss you. Good luck. And she walks away, and I'm flattened. And she gets about 6 feet away, she turns around and smiles and goes, you should probably know this too. I'm still dating that guy 4 years later. A year and a half after I moved to Toronto, I got an invitation to their wedding. Here's the kicker, I don't remember that. I have no recollection of that moment, and I've searched my memory banks because that is funny, and I should remember doing it, and I don't remember it. And that was such an eye-opening, transformative moment for me to think that maybe the biggest impact I'd ever had on anyone's life, a moment that had a woman walk up to a stranger 4 years later and say, you've been an incredibly important person in my life, was a moment that I didn't even remember. How many of you guys have a lollipop moment, a moment where someone said something or did something that you feel fundamentally made your life better? All right. How many of you have told that person they did it? See, why not? We celebrate birthdays where all you have to do is not die for 365 days. And yet we let people who have made our lives better walk around without knowing it. And every single one of you has been the catalyst for a lollipop moment. You have made someone's life better by something that you said or that you did. And if you think you haven't, think about all the hands that didn't go back up when I asked that question. You're just one of the people who hasn't been told. But it is so scary to think of ourselves as that powerful. It can be frightening to think that we can matter that much to other people. Because as long as we make leadership something bigger than us, as long as we keep leadership something beyond us, as long as we make it about changing the world, we give ourselves an excuse not to expect it every day from ourselves and from each other. Marianne Williamson said, "Our greatest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our greatest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light and not our darkness that frightens us." And my call to action today is that we need to get over that. We need to get over our fear of how extraordinarily powerful we can be in each other's lives. We need to get over it so we can move beyond it. And our little brothers and our little sisters, and one day our kids, or our kids right now, can watch us start to value the impact we can have on each other's lives more than money and power and titles and influence. We need to redefine leadership as being about lollipop moments. How many of them we create, how many of them we acknowledge, how many of them we pay forward, and how many of them we say thank you for. Because we've made leadership about changing the world, and there is no world. There's only 6 billion understandings of it. And if you change one person's understanding of it, one person's understanding of what they're capable of, one person's understanding of how much people care about them, one person's understanding of how powerful an agent for change they can be in this world, you've changed the whole thing. And if we can understand leadership like that, I think if we can redefine leadership like that, I think we can change everything. And it's a simple idea, but I don't think it's a small one. And I want to thank you all so much for letting me share it with you today.
Cabin crew, please take your seats for takeoff. We are wishing you an amazing start to a school year we will not forget. If we work together to support one another
and model the personal characteristics and habits we would like to see in our students, everyone will feel better about our trip, and we will be far more likely to reach our destination. A first-class education for Wyndham students. Not too bad, Eric Estrada from CHIPS.
That's all right. I'm doing all right. I feel like I'm the first assistant superintendent to look like a member of the Village People, I feel.
YMCA, I totally agree. But you're rocking those glasses.
Thank you. They do look good. I think I'm just going to wear them in the office.
I'm rocking the glasses too if the superintendent thing doesn't work out. I don't know.
Hey, we got a chance.
So talk about fixing the plane while it's flying.
Tarmac, airport, we're doing it all. And when I mean all of us are literally building everything. Forget the plane, we're building the whole infrastructure airline system.
But we got this.
Yes, we do. We got it.
I'm happy you're my co-pilot.
Right back at you. Thank you.
All right. Let's have a great year, everybody.
Good luck.
You're a sky full of stars. I'm gonna give you my heart. 'Cause you're a sky full of stars. 'Cause you light up the park. I don't care, go on and tear me apart. I don't care if you do. 'Cause in the sky full of stars, I think I saw you. You're a sky full of stars. I wanna die in your arms. Cause you get lighter the more it gets dark. I'm gonna give you my heart. I don't care, go on and tear me apart. I don't care if you do.
my God, my voice is so grating. I hear myself talk and I'm like, on all those all calls, I'm like, someone else needs to be doing this. This is horrible. I sound hideous. Okay. I'm having a tough time with focuses. With my co-pilot, Mr. Near Web. Yeah, I might be able to say his name. Great, so I pick up the phone, I'm like, oh my God, who is this? It's not, I'm not kidding. That's really how I feel. Okay. What kind of chocolate did they serve in an airport?
I have no idea what.
Plain chocolate.
Why did the plane get sent to its room?
I don't know. Why?
It had a bad altitude.
Oh, cute. I, along with my co-pilot, Mr. Neil. Oh my God.
Thank you. Gonna do one more.
While I, along with my co-pilot, Mr. Neil Weathers. Why can't I say his name? This is like. It's like funny, but not funny. Okay. To me, it felt like blah, blah, blah. While I, along with my co-pilot, Mr. Neil Weathers. What is so hard? Oh.
We're expecting to be in the air in approximately 7. There's a question mark.
I will continually remind you that you are flying the plane in your classrooms for your. I'll continually remind you that I cannot speak.
All right.
This all is being recorded?
Absolutely. Yeah.
God, I'm glad I didn't say anything totally inappropriate. I had no idea. Oh yeah, look, the red light's on.
All right.
Okay.